Welcome to Photo Vibrance. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get started creating animated images inside of Vibrance. So you have two options. You can either drag and drop an image over here or click to browse from your desktop, or you can go through the stock image integrations and search for an image using Pixels or Pixabay. I'm going to go and grab an image from my desktop and just drop it in like so. Okay, cool. So now over here what we can do is change the resolution, and you can set custom dimensions over here. If you select custom, you can go back to the original image size, or you can set sizes that are good for social media, like the square one over here. So I'm just going to select that and click on next. Okay, great. So inside the editor we've got options such as adding text. You can add your logo or an image, you can add effects, shapes, you can adjust the size again, and you can publish your project as well as save your project to work on it at a later stage. So what I'm going to do first of all is begin animating. So what you can do is just zoom into the image over here, and you want to go through and set some anchors where you don't want the image to move. So I'm going to go and grab single and just simply start clicking around here, and I just want to set the water in motion. So I want to kind of freeze everything around the water. Okay, great. You can also use the path option if you want to just simply click and then click and hit enter, and then it will basically add the paths at the end like that. So I'll just go in and I'll just hit the selection tool actually and go and just move these around a little bit. Okay, great. So now I've got my anchors in place. What I want to do is add some arrows to make the image move. So I'm going to select single and just simply click and drag. And what you want to do is not make the arrows too big. You kind of want to make them this kind of size, depending on how much motion you want to add. The bigger the arrows, more motion you'll add to your picture. So you just want to kind of draw it out like that. We can keep going, add some more arrows, and then click on the play button. You can see I've got this nice kind of image like this, and what you want to do is just kind of go in there and maybe add a few more arrows like so. And there we go. We can also adjust the speed of the animation by just simply dragging this out like this. And what I also want to do with this one is I want to add some fog. So I'm going to go over to the effects over here, and I'm just going to scroll down and add some fog. I'm going to go grab this one here, kind of zoom out, and then just kind of place it near the bottom like that. And I'm going to set the speed to slow for this fog. Okay, so let's just play this through. And it's looking really nice. So once you're ready and you're happy with your image, what you can do is go to the publish button over here. You can select whether you want it to be an MP4 or a GIF image. I'm going to go with MP4, and let's just set it to 2 loops and click on publish and give it a name. So let's call this one Waterfall. And you'll be able to see that image will start exporting, and once it's ready we can go view our animated image. So let's just go ahead and preview the video. So let's check this out. And that's how easy it is to go through and create animated images inside of Photo Vibrance. Hi, in this first step, what we need to do is basically cut out our main object or objects. So what you want to do is click on select object, and you can go through and start left clicking around your object. And what I'm going to do is basically cut out this branch. So I'm just going to quickly add some points over here, and once I'm done I'm going to connect up all the points to that final point there, and we'll create a selection. So I'll quickly go through and add these points. Alright, so I'm just going to simply connect that up to create a selection. And as you can see, you've got all the points here, and you can make adjustments by simply dragging them around like so. If you want to add extra points, just simply hold down Control on your mouse and left click, and you see we can add extra points like that. So it's simply Control and then left click to add a point. So go through and create this selection, and once you've created it you can go through and give it a name. Let's call this one L, and then go on to the next step and we'll start filling in the background. Alright, so in this second step, what we need to do is basically fill in this background, and the reason is when we go into the editor over here, if we start animating this camera, you'll be able to see that you can see the black background. It doesn't look very good, so we need to kind of clone stamp it to fill it in. So let's go back over to Edit Image and go to Next, and I'm going to click on the Start Cloning button, and I'll bring up the radius quite big of this selection. You can adjust things like the hardness and the opacity depending on the image. You might want to play around with those. But what you want to do is basically hold down Control to create a selection and left click, and it selects this part of the image. And if I move it over like so, we can go through and start filling in this picture. So I'm going to go select this here, left click and drag it over a little bit. Maybe select it like so, and then just simply, left click to fill it in like so. And you can see it works really well on images like this. It looks really good. When you're first, starting out, you want to just, have a play around with it first to see how it all works. Depending on the image, it can be a lot easier, as well as, also it could be a little bit more tricky. So you want to take a bit more time on those trickier images, okay? But let's just go ahead and I'll quickly fill this in, just simply making selections. Actually, I'll select about here and just kind of, adding these in like so. Okay, cool. So now that I've gone through and filled in that gap, what we can do is go into the next step and start animating inside the editor. Alright, so now that we're inside the editor, we can go through and start animating this image. So if I click on camera over here, and if I just zoom in a bit like so, and start moving it around, you'll be able to see now we've got this really nice looking effect, okay? And we can do heaps of things like adding in different text images, we can add particles and things like that. So let's go through and I'll go click onto layers, and I'm going to go add some text. So let's just call this one, let's say zoo, and I'll adjust the letter spacing like so. And I'll just position this a little bit smaller, and also I'll add some extra text saying open. Okay, and I'll bring this down like so, and just zoom in a bit. Alright, so I've got some of my text here, and I'm also going to go through and add a butterfly. So I'm going to effects, and I'll go add this butterfly here, and I'll just drag this down and position it on the branch, maybe something like that. Now what we can see, if I just go through and show you something, if I go to camera over here, if I move this around, you'll be able to see that the objects are in different 3D space, okay? So what we want is this butterfly to be on the same, kind of axis as this branch, so that it doesn't look like it's moving around. So if I drag this butterfly and place it just on top of the L, you're about to see that we've got it on the branch. And if I move it around now, you can see it's stayed on the branch like so. If I place it at the back, for example, if I drag this over, you'll be able to see it's behind now the branch. So I'm going to put it on top like that. Also with the text, I want to bring these into the same kind of alignment like so. And that's looking really good. Cool, so what I'm going to do is go and reset this camera, and I might just zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to go to particles as well and add some particles. So let's go turn on, and I've got this leaf selected, and I'm going to make the leaf a bit bigger, and also I might add some blur to them as well. You can adjust things like the contrast as well as the color, so you can play around with the color like this. And yeah, that looks quite good as it is. And what we're going to do is just zoom in a little bit more. I'm going to rotate it maybe like this kind of angle and position like so. Okay, so here's my first position. Now what I'm going to do is click on add keyframe. You can also double click to add a keyframe like this, or delete it like that. But I've got a keyframe, I'm going to drag it to about 5 seconds. And now I'm going to set the second position that I want it to end on. Okay, so let's just go in like this. And I might just bring it across slightly and also rotate it slightly like so. And that's looking quite cool. So let's just come in. I might also bump up the size of the leaves like that. And yeah, we've got this coming in from here to here. And let's just preview that. Okay, that's looking really cool. So we can add another keyframe by clicking on add keyframe, and we can set a different position. If we want it to loop, so start from and in the same position, what you want to do is double click to add that same position keyframe, so in the same position, and then just drag it over here like this, and just delete this one, and this will go in and go out, and it'll create a really nice looping animation, especially if you're using it on social media. You can have it, you know, continually looping like that, and that's looking really cool. So that's how you can go through and, you know, create some really nice animations. Yeah, have a go and play around with it. And once you're ready, you can go through and click on publish and select, you know, where you want to save it to and publish your video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure to try it out and have fun creating. In this video, I'm going to show you how to animate an iris inside of Photo Vibrance. So what you want to do is, first of all, just draw out the anchor point, so where you want the image to stay still. So I'm just going to draw around this iris here, and also I'm going to draw around the pupil and the inside of the eye, like so. Cool. So what we could do is either draw a path and make it like rotate around, or we could draw some arrows kind of going outside like this and making it kind of expand and move around like this. So I'm going to try this one like this, for example. Just add the arrows to draw the motion. Cool, so I'm going to play this through, see what it looks like. Cool, and as you can see, it really is eye-catching, literally, with this eye. And what you could also do, as I said, if you, for example, let's go and select just the arrows. I'm just going to select this and remove those arrows. We could go with the path and just draw around this kind of loop, I guess, of motion, and just preview that as well. And that looks super cool, as you can see. So you can really have fun, you know, being creative with certain images like these eyes. And yeah, that's how you can animate an iris inside of Photo Vibrance. In this video, I'm going to show you how to animate this lion and basically make the hair move inside of Photo Vibrance. So what you want to do with an animal like a lion is you want to kind of mark out first the face. So I'm going to go to the path for the anchors and just simply draw around the face to add like a structure to this image. So I'm just going to quickly go through and add it around here like so, and then hit enter. And I also want to go and add you know, some anchors around the eye so that this also stays in place while the image is moving. So I'm just going to add around the eyes and also around the nose, like so, and that's looking good. And also probably around the ears, I'm just going to add some anchors around here and also around here as well. Okay, cool. So now what I can do is go to the arrows, and I'm going to use the path one over here for the arrows, and just simply draw out a path of where I want this hair to animate. So I'm going to go with the actual kind of flow of the hair. So just kind of bring it out like this with the mane, bring this down. Also bring some arrows over here. And also around the face, I'm going to add some arrows. And yeah, this is looking quite good. So what I'm going to do is just quickly preview that and show you what that looks like. Cool, so as you can see, it's looking really, really nice right now. And it just really helps you to, you know, get more attention to your images. So that's looking really good. I'm also going to add some over on the ears up here. Add some more motion. Maybe around here as well. And maybe a little bit up here. Cool, so that's looking really, really good. And yeah, what I could do now is just simply go through, click on publish, and choose whether I want it to be an MP4 or a GIF, and publish this onto my desktop. So I hope you enjoyed this example of how you can animate hair on animals and really bring your images to life inside of Photo Vibrance.
Welcome to Photo Vibrance. My name is Arthur Wainio, and I will be your guide today on this tutorial. Today we're going to focus on creating a video with Photo Vibrance of a face or faces. So let's go ahead and jump right into the software. Okay, great. Now that you have the software open, I'm going to assume that you already watched the basic tutorials. And if you haven't done that, you can just go ahead and click on this button right here and go ahead and go do that. So first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and search the stock images for a face, something that we could use to kind of animate with this software. So let's go ahead and click on search stock images. And when you jump in here, you might notice that it's a bunch of just random photos, which I've seen some of these already being animated, people popping them in the Facebook group. But let's go up here and type face and see what we get. Now, you guys might have seen me do this one. This is what we're actually going to be doing our tutorial on. But before I go ahead and select that, I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about what you're looking at, what type of photo that you want to select, the kind of things that I actually look for that could possibly be animated and be best suited for the software. So obviously this one is the one I used because it pops out, it's colorful. It has textures on there. You can see the little lines on her face. We can go ahead and take a look at a couple other examples in here on possible photos to select. There's a cat one in there. I don't know why the cat's face is in a face. Maybe I should have put human face in there. But this photo right here next to the colored one, it might be a little bit tough to animate something like this just because everything's pretty much washed out. You might be able to get away with doing her eyebrows, her eyes, maybe her hair, but this side of her face is kind of, I mean, you can't see her cheek line, and it blends in. Also, another reason why I wouldn't select this photo is that it is too close to the camera, and I like to use the zoom effect on these videos and place music behind them. Most of the videos that I'm going to be making are going to be square just because it's more universal. I only need to make one video to go ahead and post on Facebook, Instagram. I think even LinkedIn supports square video, and YouTube does too as well. So it's pretty universal to use the square option. As you can see, when you pop in the square option, it zooms in on her face like that, but it doesn't leave me any room to do the zoom effect at the end that I like to do, unless you focus on her eyes and it's zooming in right there. But let's go ahead and go back and look at some of the other photos. You also don't want a photo with someone's face who are too far away. So like this one might be a little bit tough just because she's a bit far away. You're not going to really see the animation effect when a person is so far away and the landscape is, kind of blurred out. It isn't even crisp. Now, like I said, some of the things that I like to look for when I'm selecting a photo is things with texture, things with color, some interesting things. Because you got to remember, most of these videos are going to be going on social media. So you're trying to create something that is already good, but you're trying to animate it to make it better. And stop people from scrolling either on Facebook or Instagram and actually get them to read the post or whatever that this video is going to be about. Whether it's going to be a quote or a certain amount of text, like click here or click below, something like that. But let's go ahead and take a look at a couple more of these, and then we'll just jump right into the tutorial. So when you look at some of these, like this lady right here, she might be a little bit tough to animate. You might be able to get away with doing her eyebrows, maybe the eyeshadow on her eyes. Makeup it will look great with using Photo Vibrance and animating her lips, maybe her hair. Since it's a white background, this photo would look good with masking out the white background and putting some like embers behind her, or a different color maybe, and some embers to really make this pop. But let's go ahead and go back and look at one more example before we jump into the tutorial. Let's see. Look for we'll look for a photo that really pops. I actually did one on this one because it was interesting. It's a mask with an eye, a lady standing there. It's something that would be interesting to go ahead and post on social media, but when you make it square, it kind of cuts off everything. So this one would actually be like a landscape one. You'd have to probably put bars on the top and bottom to make it square with whatever you want it to say. That would probably look good. But let's go ahead and go back and get started with this tutorial. All right, now we got the photo in on the canvas of Photo Vibrance. Let's go ahead and make it square. Make square, click next, and let's go ahead and start animating. That's what a lot of people think. They just want to come in here and start putting a bunch of arrows, anchors on places that they don't want to move. But what I like to do, since you're looking at this is a pretty intense photo. Her eyes are probably going to be the main focal point, her nose, and the lips. These are kind of the areas that you want to focus on when you're looking at the face. And then the outline of her hands. You don't want any of this stuff to move because otherwise it's going to look like a big blurry mess. So let's go ahead and start anchoring out, pretty much drawing with the anchors around the creases that we don't want to move. So I'm just going to go ahead and select a single anchor. And I'm just going to go around her eyes like this. I always like to start with the eyes first. I don't know why. And now let's go ahead and focus on her lips. So we're going to do the crease of her lips right in here, and then we'll work on the outer edge. Since her bottom lip, it's a little blurry right there already on the photo. We're going to kind of have to work on the anchors right here, just because I can foresee either the bottom blending in with the top or the top blending in with the bottom right here. Since it's part of the photo, we can't really help that, but we're going to see what we can do with it. Okay, now it looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and start animating this photo. So what I did when I originally created this was I had the arrow path going down and one's going up her hands and all around. So I'll go ahead and explain that, how I did that and what it actually looks like. So I wanted to first explain the arrows. Now I noticed that if you use a single arrow, a lot of you might be doing this, creating a picture like this, a Photo Vibrance video like this. If you notice, all the arrows are different lengths, and they're going to cause lines, because I think at the end of each of these arrows, it's what it does is it creates, I noticed that it creates like a little line on each of these, and that's definitely not what we want. We want it to be more uniform. So let's go ahead and get rid of those. Delete those. I instead use the path. I use the path especially when I'm going long distances. So I'm going from like the top of her forehead down to the tip of her nose, or right from her hands all the way up. And then on the small intricate details, I will go ahead and use the single arrow to go ahead and animate the parts that I need to move. So let's go ahead and start putting the arrow paths on her. Again, it doesn't need to be straight. I'm drawing with a mouse, but we can see what the end result looks like. Ooh, I went right over the anchor, so we'll have to definitely fix that one. There we go. Now, let's fix that. Fix that. There we go. So let's go ahead and arrow path out. Now for the eyebrows, for these paths, I usually go with the direction of the photo. So for her eyebrows, I'm just tracing out her eyebrows like so. Trying to do it the best I can with a mouse. I know it's a little difficult at times. So going through the outline. Just like that. And then for her forehead, I just continued with this arc kind of motion that I'm doing. So arcing it like that. And then followed her eyelid crease down there. Eyelid crease, and see how the arc is the same as these. So the direction of the movement is going to continue to go like that. Put another little one right there. And then if we need more movement in here, we can zoom in and do that with single arrows later. But now for her cheeks, we're just going to follow the arc that I already made. Go down like that. Perfect. Perfect. So let's go ahead and work on the hands. Now you'll notice that she has knuckles right here. So we're gonna have to kind of curve the path around to go just the same in the same direction that she's holding her hands on her face right here. So let's go ahead and we'll follow all the way around and all the way up. Let's go ahead and work on this knuckle right now. That looks good. Perfect. And again, it doesn't need to be perfect because we're doing so many of these paths. They will all kind of blend in together with each other. Yeah, we'll delete that one. That one's going over the anchor. Perfect. Let's go ahead and take a peek at what it looks like right now. Look at that. Almost looks like the original. Let's go ahead and keep animating. We're going to go ahead and work on her upper lip, lips, and the bottom here, and then we can go and tweak in all this stuff. See how it's creating a line right here? We'll go ahead and tweak that, get rid of that. Possibly go in and take care of all the detail stuff in a little bit. So for the lips, I originally did a circle, which was okay, but we're going to go ahead and just push the animation so it pushes down into her top lip, and then maybe we'll have the bottom one going like this, and then we'll put a little bit of animation into her lips as well. Okay. Perfect. Do the single arrow. Do these ones going down. Let's go ahead and take a look at what it looks like now. Okay, it's coming together. See right here where I had thought that it was blurry, it's going to be pulling. Kind of looks like it's pulling from the bottom up, blending into her bottom lip. We're going to go ahead and try and fix that. first, let's try and anchor and get rid of that line that we were seeing right here. So for that, I'm going to use the path for the anchors. So I just go to anchors, path, and I'm going to do it off the canvas. In case any of these arrows are pulling from below it. Let's look at it now. There we go. No line. Line is gone. So let's go ahead and start working on her lip, that problem area that I had discussed before. Go ahead and pull those up, get them closer to that arrow. Maybe angle this one over a little bit. Let's look at it now. You can kind of see, stop the line right there. Put another arrow right in here. Make sure to anchor down these lips. All right, it's looking good. See when we zoom out? Perfect. It's looking good, looking good. All right, perfect. Let's go ahead and try and animate, put some animation into her eyes right here. Looks like I accidentally put an anchor spot right there, but that's okay. We can move it. Select anchors. I'm going to move it right into the center of her eye. And look at that, you can see the cameraman right in the reflection of her eyeball. And then we want to anchor out her eye. Put those right on the edge because we're going to animate this stuff inside of her eyes. Because when we do that zoom effect, it's really going to make these eyes pop and people will really focus on them. Let's go ahead and fix these. Perfect. So let's go ahead and start animating the eye. I'm just going to select a single arrow. You don't need a path for this because, like I said before, this is such a small area. We're only going to need maybe 2 or 3 arrows in here. Just one maybe pushing the animation of the color of her eyes down, one pushing it to the side, and then one back up. So it looks like her eyes, the color in her eyes are spinning. So I'll do one arrow down, one arrow up this way, and one arrow that way. Let's take a look at it. Hopefully it's not making it square. Let's see. Looks pretty good. Probably adjust those arrows so that it makes it look more rounded in there. Let me see here. Put that down more. Put this out more. That way it's not so close to the anchor. You can adjust this one. Okay, let's look at it now. That looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and work on the other eye. Put a few more anchors in there. Select a single arrow. And we're going to do 3 in here. And then we'll adjust them as needed. Let's go and play that. Let's take a look. That one actually looks pretty good. Not much moving of the arrows that we need, but we'll go ahead and see if we can get that closer out to the edge. That one down. Let's take a look. That looks pretty good. Okay. Now some of the things that I'm noticing that aren't moving, like I said, is maybe we can go in here and draw a few more paths closer to her eyes because this stuff is all anchored in here. We don't have to worry about that moving. So I'm going to go ahead and try and do that right now. We'll see what it looks like. Let's play it. See, now her eyelid is moving. She looks pretty good. She looks pretty good. This looks pretty close to the original that I made already. The only other thing that I think that we could do to make this look better, you notice that it says speed right here. Most people probably leave this at whatever the default is right here on the setting. I noticed that when I play it faster, the animation plays faster, and it almost looks like her skin like gives like this glow type of a thing, and it actually looks like it's like real and moving. So I went ahead and I upped that, but just remember, when you do up the speed, you're going to have to make more loops. I like to make about a 30-second video because I'm going to play some music behind it, maybe possibly some text, but anything under 30 seconds will auto loop on Facebook anyway, so that will be good. Before I render this, just check. That looks good. Looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and we'll stop this and we'll go ahead and render it, and we will go ahead and start the zoom effect. You don't want to add the text in here. If you're adding a zoom effect where it's slowly zooming in on the face, you want to do that in an editing software like Premiere Pro or Create Studio, whichever you have. If you have Create Studio, I know a lot of you do, you can go ahead and throw it into Create Studio, add the text, the slow zoom, and the music all in one. You can do that right there in the same software. Let's go ahead and go do that, and I will see you right over there in 1 second. Okay, great. Now that we're in Create Studio, let's go ahead and open our video and put it out onto the Create Studio canvas. So we want to go ahead and create a new project. And since I made that square, let's go ahead and the height is 1080. I already know the width is 1080. Perfect. So let's go ahead and import our media. So bring it over to the canvas. So the first thing that we want to do is add the slow zoom. So all I did was go in here and under motion, click the out tab, click zoom. We want the scale up, and you notice that it puts here at the end. All I did to create the slow zoom throughout the whole entire video was I dragged that over. Now when you notice when you click play, it zooms in. It zooms in pretty fast. So by the end of the video, that's 30 seconds, we'll go ahead and shorten that up. But at the end of the video, it's going to be too close. So we want to go ahead and slow the zoom down. So all we do is go here and we click animation settings. We want to make this somewhere around 1.5. So we'll go ahead and make that 1.5. We'll take a look at it again. And look, you get that slow, buttery smooth zoom. When we get music on here, maybe some text, it'll look really good on social media. Let's go ahead and shorten this up so it's right under the 30 seconds. We'll make it about 29 seconds. Scale up. Perfect. Now all you need to do is add text and music, which is simple. Just click text. You can type whatever you want, your favorite quote, or you could write, welcome to, here's my first digital art. Let's make it all caps. Digital creation. Perfect. Go ahead and center that. Change the font. You can import fonts if you want, or you can select, they have a bunch of them in here. But ideally you want to select something that's not thin, something that's bold, that people will be able to read, something that will look good. So let's go ahead and select Carino, and let's make it bold. Perfect. And we'll just put that, in case we had any other imperfections that I missed, let's just put that down right there. Perfectly centered. Extend that out to the end of the video. Let's go ahead and add some music. So since I originally made this as a quote, I just went in here and I selected something that was like inspirational or cinematic. All we're going to do is drag the music over onto our canvas. It adds it to the bottom. We only need 30 seconds of it. So what we can do is go ahead and shorten the song up. And that's it, folks. Again, my name is Arthur Wainio, and until the next tutorial, I hope you enjoyed this and you create your own masterpiece face. Thank you.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to turn any photo or product shot into a nice looking video ad with a few tweaks inside of Photo Vibrance. So the first thing I want to do is click on text and add some text. I'm just going to type in 50% off all. And I'll also go through and adjust the text font, make it VBAS like that. And I'm just going to bring this down a bit like so, and position like so. And click on text again, and I'm going to say off all sweaters. So, and with this text font, I'm going to go and go with Josephine Sands, and I'll also adjust the letter spacing like so, and then bring this down. So I'm just going to select this and put it under like so. Cool. So 50% off all sweaters. Now what I want to do is add some effects to really bring this to life. So I'm going to go to effects over here, and I'm going to scroll down and find the particles. So let's go over to particles. And this one here looks really good, so I'm just going to simply left click on that, click on expand to make it full width and height. And then what we want to do is draw out the mask so that we can reveal only certain parts of this video. So I'm going to adjust the pencil size, make it quite big, and just quickly draw out around her so that you can have the particles just showing up around the image. Okay, cool. So that's just a quick rough draw. I'm just going to click on finish. You have to see right now, if I play this through, we've got a really nice looking video ad with a really nice looking effect where it looks like the particles are kind of going around and behind her. So you can adjust the speed over here. You can then go through and add your logo by clicking add on image. And yeah, so that's how to create a really nice looking video ad from any product shot inside of Photo Vibrance. In this video, I want to show you how to animate this image to make the dust really kind of fly around with Photo Vibrance. So I'm just going to go to the path for the anchors, I'm just going to draw out around this picture to the places that I want to stay still. So I'm just going to go through and quickly draw around this bike. Okay, cool. So once you've drawn out your path, hit enter on your keyboard and you'll be able to see it locks in all those anchors, and you can go and manually add anchors by clicking on single and just simply pointing and clicking around where you want to add your anchors. Once we've isolated the areas, what we can do now is add in our arrows. And for kind of dust, the best one probably would be to go with the single arrows. If you're drawing out water and things like that, you can use a path, and that looks really good. So I'm just going to go and draw out some arrows over here. And let's just bring them up. And depending on how much motion you want to add, you can draw out your arrows bigger or smaller. Usually it's best to go with not too big ones. But what you want to do is, just draw them out and see what it looks like. A lot of this kind of animating is kind of trial and error, so you kind of have to play around with it, see what looks good to you, and make adjustments. So I'm just going to draw out a few more, like this, maybe one up here as well, and one there. And let's just preview what that looks like. Cool, so that's looking really good. I can go through and adjust the speed like that. That's looking really nice. And maybe move this one, make it a little bit smaller, play around with that. And yeah, let's preview this again. So that's looking really cool. So that's how you can create a really nice looking dust effect using the motion arrows inside of Photo Vibrance. And once you're done, simply go to publish. You can then choose whether you want it to be MP4 or a GIF image and how many loops you want. By default, all the animations in here go through in loops. So if you're playing it really fast, it's going to loop quite quickly and then start again like that. So you want to kind of play around how much you want it to loop. And yeah, you can just go with one loop if you're going to be posting on social media, because it will automatically loop anyway. Or you can, if you want to make a longer video, you can just add 2 loops, for example, and publish that. Okay, great. So now I've published this video. You have to see, I'll just resize it down. You have to see what it looks like. So it's looking really cool. And what you could also do as well, if you want to have it in different formats, after you've published it, what you can do is adjust the size. Let's say I want to make it a square one like that for Instagram, for example. I could just go through and bring this over, done editing, and then I can go through and republish that as another video. So I hope you enjoyed this example of how you can create some really cool looking effects with your images inside of Photo Vibrance.
Welcome to Photo Vibrance. My name is Arthur Waino, and I will be your guide today on this tutorial. Today we're going to be focusing on pets or animals, so let's jump right into the software. Great! Now that you have the software open, I'm going to assume that you already know the basics, and if you don't, that's okay. You can go right over here to the tutorials tab and catch up on the videos on how to use the basics of the software. So let's go ahead and start searching for this cat image that you saw at the beginning of this video. I believe this one was in Pexels. So we're going to click the Pexels tab, and we're going to just type in cats. And look, it's right there, the second one. Perfect. Now, most of the images that you're going to look for animals or pets, they're already going to be taken by professional photographers, and ideally you want ones that aren't too far away or too close. I'm going to go ahead and select square because that's the most universal across all the platforms, and we're just going to go ahead and readjust our square here. I'm going to click next. And let's go ahead and start animating. So what we want to do first is we want to go ahead and anchor all of our spots that we don't want to move. So for instance, the nose, the eyes, the mouth, and the ears around the head and the body. So let's go ahead and do that right now. And if it's not perfect, that's okay, because you can always go back and add anchors or delete the anchors. Great. So now, looking at this photo, we can tell a couple of things. One, it's a little bit blurry on his chin, so we're going to go ahead and also around here around his lip. So we're going to go ahead and outline that, because what we want is we want this fur to move, but without blending into the rest of it, so it really shows the outline of his face. And we're going to do a jawline right here too. So we're kind of just drawing with the anchors on the parts that we don't want to move, because his fur on his face is going to be moving in a separate direction than the fur on his chest. Perfect. So now let's go ahead and start animating the cat. We're going to go ahead and select the path. And what you want to do when you're doing animals, and this will go for any animals, whether it's snakes, birds, cats, dogs, you obviously are not going to draw a path sideways like that. You just want to kind of go along with the natural path of the fur, the scales, the feathers, whatever it may be. So just draw it like that. And again, it doesn't need to be perfect, because any imperfections we can always go in and tweak once we see what the animation looks like. For his ears here, you can see that he has hair, but it's a little blurry, so we're just going to go ahead. I already know that the animation is going to kind of blend all this in, but it's still something to take a look at. So we'll see what that looks like once we're done. All right, let's go ahead and take a look and see what it looks like. It actually looks pretty good already. We could probably put a little bit of animation right here on his chin, but you can see that when we anchored out his lips, you can see it moving right there. It really makes his mouth pop, it makes his nose pop, because we anchored that out as well. Since his eyes, we probably need to go in and fix this. It looks like it's spilling over into his eye. We can probably animate his eye a little bit as well. Now, from what I remember, since the cat's eyes are kind of like these slivers, it's going to be a little tricky to animate, but let's see what we can do. Just go ahead and move that over like that. And the spillover is gone. There's a couple little lines right here. We're going to go ahead and fix that. It's probably this arrow that is causing that. There we go. See, the line is gone now? Perfect. We could probably animate the fur right out here. And I forgot to do his chin. It's looking pretty good. Great. Now let's go ahead and work on the eye. Like I said, this was a little bit tricky just because the cat's eye is a sliver. It's not round like a human, so we can't really go in there and do a circle with the arrows. So all I did when I originally did this was I placed anchors right in the center of the slivers. And I went and grabbed a single arrow. I put it right down the side. And let's take a look and see what it looks like. See, we're giving it a little bit of movement in there. Let's go ahead and adjust the arrows and see what it looks like when we move it closer to the bottom. I think it looks pretty good like this. So all we're doing now is some just minor tweaks to make this the best that we possibly can. See how I got rid of that line a little bit? Let's see. All right, that looks pretty good. Now the only other thing to do is to increase the animation speed. So it looks like that. All right, perfect. So all we need to do now is go ahead and put this into Create Studio, put the slow zoom on it with the, and I went out there and found a sound effects of a cat purring, and then just an ambient sound that I placed behind this video, and it was complete. And look at that, the cat video is complete. Well friends, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you on the next one.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the sky on any image inside of Photo Vibrance. So what I'm going to do is simply go to Effects and then go to Skies. And you can simply hover your mouse on the different types of skies and then left click to add it to your canvas. And then I'm just going to simply resize it a little bit like this and maybe place it up a bit like so. The next thing you want to do is click on Draw Mask, and you can simply just zoom in a bit and draw out the edge of your mask over here and then fill it in once you've added the edge. So I'm going to quickly go through and do this. Okay, great. So once you've drawn out the mask, simply hit finish, and then what you can do is adjust the edge fading by simply playing around with this, and you see that it helps you to basically merge the footage together so it looks a lot cleaner. And you can also adjust the speed of your video, so let's click on play, and you can see how nice that looks to really create a lot of attention to your image. And you can also adjust the speed as well, overall speed of the video, by dragging this down like so and placing it like that. So that's how to quickly create a sky replacement inside of Photo Vibrance.
Welcome to Photo Vibrance. My name is Arthur Wainio, and I will be your guide today on this tutorial. Today we're going to be focusing on using some of the effects, in particular the sky effect and masking, and let's go ahead and jump right into that. So first, let's go ahead and select an image. Now I want you to think about the type of things that you can use for like replacing the sky. Things that I kind of think about are maybe a real estate ad with a house and the sky moving in the background. It seems pretty easy. Another use case would probably be something for like gyms. Maybe I can find a photo of somebody running and then have the sky moving in the background, because we can always overlay the text on top of that and go ahead and customize it for each of the individual people that we're trying to sell it to. So let's go ahead and start with a house. So I'm just going to type in house, and we're just going to select one of the first ones here. We're going to go ahead and select this one. There we go. Now obviously it's this photo that we selected is not ideal for a square or vertical, because most of the house is going to be chopped off. So we're going to go ahead and leave it as a landscape. We're going to click next, and let's go ahead and jump into the effects. So now you can see that there's three tabs here. There's overlays, effects, and skies. We're going to click on the skies tab. And they have multiple different skies that you can select from. We obviously aren't going to select any of the nighttime ones. I mean, you can. It's going to make the photo a little bit dark. But I kind of like these ones because they're moving fast. There's a lot of movement, especially when you're posting this on social media. You want something that's going to catch the eye. So you can select any of these that you like. I'm going to go ahead and select this one with the clouds moving back and the clouds above there moving forward. As you can see, it covers the entire image of the house. So what we need to do is we need to draw a mask so it reveals the house through the cloud, through the clouds moving. So we're going to click on Draw Mask. And what you see here is that this red circle is going to reveal all the sky wherever this red is covering. So to make this a little bit faster, you'll notice that there's a pencil size here. You can make this bigger so we can cover more area. What you want to do is you want to get it as close to the house as possible, and then we can fine tune it later. Oops. As you can see, I went over a little bit of the house. That's okay. We can click on this tab right here where it says Erase Mask, and we get the opposite effect. We can erase our mistake. So let's go ahead and continue drawing the mask. As you can see, I'm just getting it to as close to the edge as possible. And then we're going to go in and fine tune this so that it looks real good. Let's go ahead and zoom in here. Make our pencil size a little bit smaller. And this doesn't need to be perfect. Like I said, if you make a mistake, you can always click Erase Mask. So I can reveal the edge right here. Reveal this edge right here. Edge of the house right there. Obviously, working with the mouse, it's a little bit tough to get exact. Part of the tree is covered. We'll erase part of that. Because we don't want the sky over the tree. Let's grab our image, pull it over, see what we missed. Looks like we missed a lot, because as you can see, the sky is going over the house a little bit there. So let's finish off. This part. Zoom in. There we go. Again, you don't want the mask to be on the edge of the house, so you just want to get it as close as possible. And we can leave a little bit of the sky above the house. That's fine. Go in here and finish up our touches. Okay. So now that we got most of the masking done, we can click play to preview it. As you can see, there's hard lines, but we're going to go ahead and fix that now, and I'm going to show you how to fix this. Oh, there's a spot we missed right there. Click finish. Now, you'll notice the hard lines. We're going to go ahead and fix those right now, because obviously this does not look good at all. There's an option here called edge fading, and in other programs this is called feathering. It's pretty much the same thing, and what it's going to do is blur the edges of these hard lines so that it's going to give this house a glow. There you go. Look at that. All right, perfect. So now the masking is complete. You can go ahead and render this out if you'd like, or you can continue editing and save this as a template for future use. Like I said, this would be probably ideal for if you were prospecting realtors and you're trying to sell your services to them and you want to do something quick and easy just to get their attention. One way you can do that is by going and grabbing their image off of their website or one of their social media ads, and you can remove the background and you can pop them right in here. So I went ahead and did that. I went ahead and grabbed a Pexels photo of a guy in a suit, a businessman in a suit, and I'm gonna go ahead and just import him. I already removed the background in interest of saving time. So say this is our realtor. We're trying to get his attention to possibly create some video ads for him. So let's go ahead and spice this up a little bit more. Most of the real estate ads, they have some text and possibly the price of the house. We'll do a circle. Let's go ahead and move this behind the realtor. So we're going to go and show layers. We're going to move the shape behind the gentleman there. Let's go ahead and select a darker color, like so. Make this a little bit bigger. And then we can add some text. We want to make this bold because, again, this is going on to social media. We want it to pop and really stand out. Go ahead and resize that and get it in there. Since this is going on social media, a lot of times what you want to do is you want to add a call to action, have them either comment below or click something. So we're going to just put comment below for details. Okay, go ahead and center that, make it bold. Make sure our Oswald font is selected. And we're going to resize it. And we can go ahead and even put the price in here if we want. Or you can put a phone number. If you already know the realtor's name, you can even actually put that right here. Contact Joe below for details. Anything. this is complete. Now, if you wanted to go ahead and have this text animated and have possibly something else right here, you can go ahead and render out the video that you had before and take it into Create Studio to add those animations and save it as a template inside there as well. And there you go. Today, folks, what we learned is how to use some of the effects within Photo Vibrance, drawing a mask to reveal the sky, array scan mask, and edge fading to make everything all congruent and look pretty. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you on the next one.
In Photo Vibrance, you can easily save and open projects as well as share your projects with other users. So let's say you go ahead and create a project. What we can do is click on Save over here and give this project a name, and then save it on your desktop. And then if I go ahead and exit this project, over on the home screen you can go to Open Project over here and just simply double click on the project, and you'll be able to see it opens up the project ready for you to continue editing. And you can go ahead and obviously share these project files, these PVP files like so, with other users. So let's go ahead and, for example, want to open this one over here. Just double click on that and it goes ahead and opens up all the projects with all your settings, and you've got your image ready to start editing or to collaborate with another user.